Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Creatively Crafted Life. My name is Melanie, and guess who's in the craft room with me again today? Hi, Nikki.
Hey, how are you guys?
I hope everybody's doing well. And Nikki and I are going to give you an update on our Christmas in July, which I, dragged her along. So hopefully she did manage to get a few projects done this month. If you want to see those particular projects from her video will be up on Wednesday, and be sure to head over there and see what she created. But for this video, we're going to focus on the projects that I made this month.
I'm excited to see all the things that you made. Did you get your 80 cards done?
I actually made quite a few cards, but I don't know what the final tally is. So we'll have to keep track as I share with you so that we can see if I actually have made enough. Speaking of which, I actually did go through my created cards, like ones that are already finished, and I still had some left over from last year. So that takes a little pressure off as well.
That's good. I'm going to grab a piece of paper and pencil for you so we can keep track.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. So I started off the month focusing on my December daily project, and I do have a video up featuring kind of the process I went to create them. So I ended up creating two little journals for these. I used that kit that I had shared in last month's video, and this is all that I have left of it. That's it. The entire kit is gone.
Wow, so, even the stickers and all the embellishments?
Yeah, it only had stickers in there. There was no embellishment. So I think I used all the stickers. I may have had one or two left over, and I just said, you know what, don't worry about it. I probably purged them because I what do you do when you have a 12 by 12 sticker sheet and you only have one sticker left on it, right? I'm not going to store it.
I find a spot for it. I'll stick it randomly somewhere, or it'll go in the trash, like you mentioned.
Yeah. So what I ended up doing, so these are the simple story, kind of like Traveler's Notebook books. I was a little concerned about fitting them within the book. Plus, I had too many pages. I knew that the number of pages that came in here, the book would end up being this fat. So I took a bunch of pages out, and I actually removed the staples so that these are loose right now. So you see how they are.
Oh.
And that's intentional, because look at what happens when you start adding all this space, and you see how you get this pushing out because it's too thick. This is the thinner one. That's the thicker one, right? So there's no way the staples would have held at all. So I will pat myself on the back. I kept it very flat. There's no dimension in here other than layered cardstock, really. So it just goes to show you how thick cardstock is versus the paper that comes in these little books. So the plan is, I don't know if you know much about Traveler's Notebooks at all, but they usually have some sort of cover that they wrap around them, and they use an elastic band or some sort of string to hold the books in the cover. And so when you do that, that'll act as the binding, right? So once you get a rubber band or something around here, it's not going to fall apart because the band's going to hold it in place. Now,
yep, exactly.
I didn't get to making the cover. I was like, I'm happy that I got this far. It's basically done. So I have, I kept it very simple. I've got a photo and then some sort of decorative element with a little bit of journaling. And that's the model I just repeated throughout the book.
I really like that.
It's a little bit awkward holding it up. I'm glad it's done. And it feels good. Like I said, I still need to make that cover, which is why I will hold on to the scraps just in case I need to line the inside or whatever. But that's my first project.
Yeah, I've got a video, I think, on my channel. I know I made it. I don't know if it went up, but I've made a cover before, and it was a lot of fun. I used Mod Podge to stabilize the paper, and then make sure you use elastic. Don't just use string, because what happens is the elastic will give with the thickness of your book while the string won't, and you have to make it taller than your book itself. So use elastic.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm also planning to make the cover extend bigger than this cover, just to cover this little bit of gap. I could have gone in and trimmed these to size, but the way I printed the photos, I would actually start losing some of the the photo integrity if I did that. So I'm just going to live with it. If nothing else, I might come in still and add a little bit of trim or something along this cover edge just to make it look neat and tidy on the outside, or I may not. We'll see.
Honestly, I wouldn't. As long as you make your cover big enough to cover it, I think you'll be fine. I would probably not use the elastic around it to hold it shut. I would make a flap to hold it shut with a magnet or something like that, so you damage your pictures.
Oh, okay. So like you're talking about the part that would come over this way.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Good thing I talked to you before I did that. There was a reason why I didn't finish the project.
And now you know.
And hopefully everybody else. And speaking of which, if any of you have any tips on making a cover, leave them in the comments below.
Have you made a cover before?
I made a cover probably about 3 or 4 years ago out of like faux leather.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. And I used some heat and bond to attach paper or cardstock on the opposite side of it. So the outside looks like faux leather and well, it looks like faux leather. It is faux leather. And then the inside had like some sort of pattern paper and it turned out pretty good. I would think I would like something a little bit more festive though. Like, you know, so it tells a little bit more about what the project is.
Yeah, I would definitely use some Christmas paper. Use it up, girl.
Yeah, I was thinking either Christmas paper or I have some Christmas fabric. So I thought maybe the fabric on the outside and Christmas paper on the inside. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll probably be 5 years. 5 years before I finish it completely.
Now, was this 2022 that you just finished?
Yes.
Okay, so you're ready for 2023. You'll be good.
Exactly. And I have a project to share that I might be using for 2023. So I might even be ahead of the game.
Oh, snap. I haven't even thought about it yet. I just know I'm going to do 8x8 instead of 6x8 this year.
Ooh, I like that. I don't think I've ever done an 8x8 album.
Oh, I really like that size because it's just a shrunk down 12x12. It's still square. You don't really have to really think about the dimensions. With a 6x8, you have to be like longer instead of wider. With the 8x8, it's still normal.
Right. Well, at least the good thing with 6x8 though is that full 4x6 photo can fit in either direction. And you still have some space left over. It used to be that 6x6 was the only other small option you had. And I hated that because by the time you fit a 4x6 photo on, you only have 2 inches left over to do something with. It was kind of boring. But
yep, definitely no room for embellishment.
Yeah, that's where all the fun is, right? Is in the embellishing. Okay, so the next thing I did was actually for Smash Your Stash, which is a collaboration that I'm doing. And we're using kits up. Or no, I think this month was to use a kit. And so I was going to use this SCT sampler kit from, when did I say that was from? November 2022. So all I have left from that kit are these 2 sheets and this little bit of scrap. That's it. And from that, I made a bunch of cards.
Wow.
So these are also on a video. So if you want to see all of the details of the specific cards, that is them. I kept them pretty simple and I tried to let the cardstock do most of the work. So for instance, like here's a little snowman print. And then I just added a coordinating cardstock and a washi tape sentiment, and I'm just calling that one done. So there's a lot that are very similar, and that's what I often do if I'm mass producing, if you want to call it that. I pulled a little bit from my stash. This was a wood veneer. So how many is that? That's 1, 2, 3. That's 6 of those cards. And then there was this blue snowflake paper. And I pulled some already pre-stamped images from my kit. So the kit that I shared last month had some pre-stamped images. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's 6 of those as well. Then I had a couple of these red ones.
Ooh, I like those. Those are pretty.
And these were just using, this was ephemera from in the kit, and this is pulling a snowflake from my stash. And then I did some mini slimline cards. So that was 2, right? You're keeping track of these for me? So 6, 6, and 2. And then the mini slimline, again, very simple. If I had like an ephemera piece that worked, I would add it. And then some of these, I didn't even add anything because I just thought the paper was so cute. I didn't need much. Now, I will be honest, these super simple cards like this, I will probably send to people that I know that aren't as appreciative of the effort that goes into card making. I'm a little bit selective that way when it comes to who gets what kind of cards.
Wow, those are all beautiful. I really like those.
Oh, thank you. So it's 3, 6, 9. So that's 12. So I thought that was a pretty good attempt from a small little kit to get that many cards out of there.
To get 24 cards, I would say yes. That's crazy.
So then I was on a card kick. And so I took that same kit again. And I don't know if you remember, I said a bunch of scraps, like little odds and ends of Christmas paper. I had some Project Life cards that I wouldn't use for scrapbooking, but thought would make good Christmas cards, and you know, just some random stickers and stuff. And so I thought, let me just use the kit, try not to bring anything else in other than like card bases, of course, and let's see what we could create with those. So these are going to be a little bit all over the place because, of course, I'm using scraps, so it's harder to mass produce, right? Because I try, when I use scraps for cards, I try to maximize the scrap, meaning I try not to trim it down if I don't have to. So these ones are a little bit non-traditional in their color. So this is a Project Life card. And then this was just a little felt sticker from Close to My Heart. And then this one here is, again, another Project Life card, and that's matted on another Project Life card, and then the little sticker guy. Then I had these little images left over from a kit. And so I just matted them on whatever cardstock I had in the kit, and then again used that washi tape sentiments, which was total time saver and a cheat. Right? I didn't have to stamp sentiments. I just used that washi tape, and it was black. So you didn't see through it. You know, sometimes washi tape, you know, looks clear or whatever. So that's those. And then I did a couple slimline from the same leftover bits from the kits. Again, just whatever the image was, matted on whatever paper I could find that coordinated, and then the sentiment.
It's great that you're using all those Project Life cards for this.
It's good, right? Because I have so many. And I just did a purge recently. So here's another Project Life card. So this here is a 4x4 card, and then I had some red cardstock. I did apply a little bit of crystal effects on here, or glossy accents, just to jazz it up a little bit. This one here is another Project Life card, and this is also a Project Life card. So these are 2 cards. And then I had some little brads in that kit. So I thought, why not just add them to the card?
They're cute.
And then these last ones can go Christmas, or they could just go general, because they're all like hot cocoa cups. So, you know, I could just send them as hello or thinking of you in the winter or something like that. And I had, again, these little doodlebug brads. So I just added them to the coffee cup, and that was it. It's basically just scraps, that little image, and sometimes an embellishment or sometimes not. I have to tell you about this little piece of cardstock here. This is from an Erin Condren planner, I think. So I know. I just thought with the gold foil on it, I'd make a cute Christmas card or something in non-traditional colors. And so I ended up using it there. So that was 15 cards.
Girl, you're getting close.
I know. I found out I had a bunch of cards left over from last year. So I think with what I'm still going to show you, I think I'm set for this year.
That's great. I'm so glad that you're almost ready. Like 80 cards is crazy. And I'm just sitting here. I think I got 3 done with my project.
So all of those have videos on them. So I will leave links to those in the description below. Although what I'm going to show you next are all non-video. So this is the only place you're going to see them.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So I had a few classes, scrapbook classes that I had to finish that were from the SAT class last fall, just before Christmas. So one of them featured this hearth and holiday kit. And it had like the stickers and the embellishments and all that kind of stuff. And you'll notice that there's quite a bit left in here.
I was about to say that's like a whole bunch compared to the last kit where you had like scraps.
I know. And I made one layout. So
hey, you made a layout. That's good.
I did. I made a layout. There's no pictures on it, but at least the layout is made. And the reason why there's a whole bunch of scraps left over and I only made one layout is because the rest of the class were pocket pages.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't do pocket pages very much.
No, me either. And I will tend to do them probably more for like travel photos, that kind of thing. With Christmas, often I don't go home for Christmas. And so it's just me and my boyfriend. And so it's not like we have a plethora of Christmas photos that I need, you know, all that space. So I just opted to do the one layout, and the rest of this kit will just go back in my stash.
Do you think you'll use that for your December daily this year?
Probably not, because I'm going to show you what I did that I think I might use. I'm still thinking about it, though. I'm still thinking about it. So then there was another class that featured the crepe paper, mittens and mistletoe, I think it was called.
Okay, yeah, I think that was last year, right?
Yeah. So I'm not sure how well, it's a double page layout, so we'll see if we can get this all in.
Oh, that's pretty.
Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
So I'll just hold up one page at a time. So the class came with this die that does this kind of almost like a quilt pattern. So it does like this little triangle piece. And so then we just layered it with cardstock underneath. And then they showed you how to make this kind of star, which was kind of fun. And then what I like too is when they use paper to make the embellishments. So these little star flowers or whatever you want to call them, they are cut out of the cardstock. So that was nice. And then the other thing I like too that I don't normally do very often is like a layered embellishment little scene thing. I thought that was kind of fun, especially on a pocket card. So that gives me some ideas of what I can do with pocket cards going forward.
Absolutely. You can keep the ones that are a little bit less graphic and use those as a background for your embellishment.
Exactly. Oh, I have a piece that fell off.
Oh yeah, I better add glue.
Yeah, that's the advantage of waiting until later to put them away. You can find out what needs a little bit of extra adhesive on them.
Yeah, until you lose that little piece.
Yeah, exactly. I have some older albums that I've gone through and I'm like, oh man, like where pieces have fallen to the bottom. So I may need to do what do you call it? A little triage situation. Go through all my old scrapbooks and just see if anything's moved. The biggest culprit actually were chipboard alphas. So back in the day before we realized that the stickiness on them was garbage, I would just stick them in and not think about it. And so now they've all like sunk to the bottom of the page.
And those are usually your titles too, which you have to remember what the title was. And oh no,
I know. So for those of you that haven't figured this out yet, always add extra glue behind those chipboard pieces because the glue is not very adhesive.
You know, I almost always add glue behind all of my alphas because that's the one thing I don't want to fall.
That's a good idea. I find I probably don't do it under stickers so much because usually they tend to be thinner and then I think it's kind of a pain, but you're probably right. You probably should do it behind everything. Okay, so then we did another 2-page layout, same kit. Let's see if we can do this.
Look at you doing all these layouts. Oh my God, that's cool.
Yeah, I like doing layouts in classes like this because it challenges me to think outside the box. Like I probably would never add this many embellishments on a page. I just tend to be a little bit more simplistic, or like, look at how many are on here between the poinsettias and the little groupings and stuff like that. But I will do the classes, like put them all together without photos. You'll notice I do add like placeholders. And I do that deliberately so that I know where to apply adhesive. So all of these things that they're not glued underneath, so I can just tack photos in when I'm ready.
I really would like to do a card class because I'm just not skilled at it. I already kind of know my style for scrapbooking, but like you'll see, my cards are not the best.
It doesn't matter. It's it's the thought that counts, really. Your recipient is just going to be happy that you thought of them. Okay, so while I was doing those, I thought that was the last of the classes from that SDT class, and I found another one. And so this was not in the kit that I shared last week, but I made 3 more cards using this other kit. So this is the first card, and it featured a stencil. So this is another one.
I love that stencil. The red. Is it
I
the red?
know.
with the- Oh my gosh, that's so
Yeah.
fun.
It's pretty, right? And it's so easy, you guys. Like it's literally just the stencil pattern, a strip of paper with a sentiment, and then a few embellishments. That's it. And then we did like a little shaker card with a snow globe.
That's fun.
Now I have to admit, I can be a little bit sloppy when it comes to making cards. And so I find with the shaker cards, if I use liquid glue, I always get it everywhere. So I'm not so happy about that, but I think I got most of it off, so it looks okay. But yeah. Anyway, so that's 3 more cards for the tally.
42.
And then I found this kit. Now, I did not buy this kit. This one came in the goodie bag from the SCT class. So not only do you get the product to make the classes, they always throw in extras from sponsors and stuff like that. And so I have had these simple story card kits in the past. And sometimes I like the cards and sometimes I'm like, meh, not so much. If I don't like the cards, I will often take the pieces and just treat them like die cuts and use them for scrapbooking. But in this case, I thought the cards were kind of cute. So I did make all of those. Now, you do end up with extra bits. So I do still have some gingerbread men and stuff like that. So I will put that in my stash and maybe make some more cards out of them. But these are the cards that we made using those kits. What I also like about these simple story card kits is the chipboard is very, very thin. I don't know if you can see that.
Their normal chipboard isn't thin, right? Like, does Simple Stories make chipboard? I know Echo
Yes.
Park does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do chipboard, but it is definitely thicker than this for sure. But for cards, it's nice to have just a little bit of dimension because you're sending it through the post, right? So if you make them too thick, you run into having to pay additional postage for it. So anyways, I thought these were cute. Super easy to do and perfect for me because I've been so busy with work. I didn't have to think. You just punch out the pieces and glue them on in the way that they tell you to, and you're done. So a great option for someone who isn't a really, big card maker and just wants to make a few cards. Now, I don't know what the cost of these are. The only times I've gotten them are in like warehouse box or, something like this where it was gifted as part of the swag, but that would be another consideration, I guess, is how much does it cost? So that was 8 more cards.
Yeah, so I was actually debating getting those. Like we talked about this, I think, a little bit last time where I had printed off the front of the card, to make my own, because I have plenty of Christmas embellishments and those kinds of things. But I'm really debating. I think they're like $14. You wait till a sale and then you can get all the cards, and all
Right.
the material.
Yeah, so $14 for 8 cards is not bad. That's really not.
Okay.
But
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think it's bad because if you think about, let's say if you had to buy a stamp set, right, for the images, that's already going to be $15 to $20 easily.
Yep.
Right.
That's
yeah.
true.
You could argue, you have the stamp set to make more cards than that, right? Like it's a tool. But let's be real, for those of us that are in the card making world, how often do we go back after we've played initially with the stamp set and use it yet again, right? A lot of times you make your 8 cards and you move on to the next best thing, right? So at least that's been my experience. I'm not speaking for everybody, but that's been my experience. So
I mean, like, you're looking at like $1.50 per card. These cards look better than you can get at Dollar Tree for $1.25, right? Like you've added dimension, you've added a little sentiment. Like these cards are so much better.
Plus, there's the enjoyment of just making them, right? There is something, I think, in just the act of, even if you're not creating it from scratch, so to speak, the fact of, punching out the papers, assembling, gluing, that kind of stuff. I think there's enjoyment in that. Yeah. And that does something a little bit more than just purchasing a card. But anyways, that's what I think.
And it's not fussy cutting.
There you go. Definitely not that. Okay. So the last project I have to share is the house from Felicity Jane. And remember how I said
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember how I said I wanted to make an album out of it? And that I had cardstock that I thought would go pretty well with it. So here's the funny part. I knew I had this paper pad. And actually, I think I tore it. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay. So I knew I had this paper pad.
That's beautiful.
Right? Do you think I could find this? Because
Oh,
I mean, obviously I did because I'm showing it to you. But because I've been in this phase of reorganizing my craft room, I've moved stuff around so many times that I don't remember where things are yet. And I keep going back to where they used to be. And I just was like, I don't know where it is. Like, I know I bought it. And then I started to doubt myself. I was like, did I buy it? Like, because I couldn't find it anywhere. Anyways, I did eventually find it, which is good. And I think it worked out really well with this collection. Now I still have, what is it? This is 48. It was 48 sheets, and this is how much I have left. So I still have a lot of paper left over because you ended up with, I think, 3 sheets of 16 designs. So I have plenty of paper to flesh this out if I need to when I'm ready to actually fill in the album. I also pulled in some plain cardstock. So this is Stamp It Up cardstock.
It's a beautiful green.
Yeah, and I think it matches pretty well with the green that was in that cover. Anyways, I went through probably about 24 sheets of plain of this green cardstock. Now I do have scraps left over, which again, I'm going to keep all of this together with the book because, of course, when I'm ready to actually finish this, I like to have the options to add a little bit more to it. Okay, so now what everybody's waiting for. Let's see what the book looks like.
I'm excited.
So this is the front cover. And then I've got the spine that goes down the back. And then I use this tree paper for the backing because I thought that kind of went with the idea of a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you open the book up, I've got the cardstock page. This is a little bit awkward. Come on.
You need to add a tab.
Well, I added magnets. So this is magnetized to hold it flat because I was worried that the spine wasn't the full length, that if this was loose, it would be a little bit too wobbly. So there is a magnet in here and it's actually more powerful than I thought. So anyways, this pops open. So I've got lots of space for pictures. And then on the back side of it, it's a pocket. So I can tuck in either just loose papers, loose photos, or add a tag or something like that. Maybe some sort of embellishments. And then it just repeats. So this is going to be open, and then this side has the pocket, and then it just repeats.
That's a lot of room. I don't think I could fit. You use 24. How many pages are there?
There were, I think there was 10 pages. Let me just count. Yeah, 10 pages. So
Okay.
there's 10.
I was thinking you had 24 pages in there. I was like, girl,
no, I used 24 pieces of cardstock because, of course, for each one, this is one page, right? So this is one page, and then you have the flap. So it's really like 20 pages if you want to think of it that way, right? This would be one, this would be one, and then this would be the other. So I thought, well, 20 is not 24. So for like a December daily album, if you wanted to do, 1 2-page spread per, you would run into some room difficulties, but I probably wouldn't necessarily need to do a 2-page spread for every day anyways. So I could probably, spread it out a little bit more. The other thing that I'm thinking I might use this for instead of December daily is I am going home in November for Thanksgiving. And so I thought that might be a good way to document that trip because this kind of looks like home, that kind of thing. So that's why I said I'm not sure if it's going to be December daily. We'll see how it plays out. But these were the stickers, or not stickers, the pre-printed images that you could die cut out. And so I thought that all just worked together. This does have a little bit more of a Christmas bent to it though than say going home for Thanksgiving.
I love that. Oh my goodness. Totally inspired. That is so cool.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. It was tricky. It was tricky to, figure out the pages and stuff. And I did a few things wrong, or I would change differently. So like, for instance, see how I've got the spine piece here. I probably would have glued this first and then put the backing on over top. I was more concerned about getting this shape cut out. So I glued the paper on and then trimmed it out with an X-Acto knife, which would be hard to do if you had the spine already attached. But thinking back, I probably would have just traced it, cut it, and then, glued it.
You made it really hard on yourself, it sounds like.
Well, I mean, I'm not dissatisfied with it. It's just because I matched this up with this paper, so it's not terribly noticeable, but it's, I would do that differently. And I did on these here, for instance, I didn't cut out the chimney, right? I just kept it simple. Yeah. It's just like, what am I going to do with it anyways? It's not like I'm going to put a photo or anything in that corner. And it just would have taken that much longer to cut everything out. As it was, I still pretty much had to cut this out all with scissors. Because of the way the angles are and stuff, like to line it up in the paper trimmer to get it right. By the time I did that, I could have just cut it out with scissors. So that's what I ended up doing. I think in a perfect world, if I was a little bit more proficient with my silhouette, I probably would have done an initial design, scanned that in, and then just used it to cut everything out. That would have been the best route to go. But
that's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, I've got my scan and cut right here. If I just like made my initial design, scanned it in, then I can send it to my silhouette.
Yeah, that definitely would be better. And you'd also have more consistent cutting, right? Like everything would align pretty well with it. So, but that is that book. So I'm happy with it. I think it turned out really cute, and I love the paper with it. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited. You'll have to show us what you do next year.
Yeah, what I ultimately end up using it for, right?
Yep. Are those all your projects?
That is it.
Okay,
I was busy.
So you made 50 cards, and then a whole album. And I think you made like, I don't know, 7 layouts. Like, good for you.
Yep. And the December daily book, right?
Yes. That's a huge project. Like you said, you didn't have time to scrapbook and all that kind of stuff. And look at you getting all this stuff done.
Well, so part of the whole not time to scrapbook has to do with not time to do YouTube and scrapbook and all of that, right? So people don't always realize how much work is involved when you add the filming on top of it. And so that's why not all the projects have videos, is just because I could squeeze these in, when I had 15 minutes here or 15 minutes there, or I needed a break, versus when you're filming, it's a little bit harder to do things in that kind of piecemeal fashion. So
also, like when you film, you have to make the project, then think of the instructions, then film it, then remake the project to take a picture of it, then edit that, and then upload it. It is a huge process. You're right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So cutting that out definitely freed up the time to be able to do all of these projects. So I'm happy with my Christmas in July. I can't remember what the timing of this, when this video is going up versus my final video that I'm going to be doing. I do have an organization video coming too. So I went through my December daily products and reorganized that. So I thought that would be a good way to wrap everything up, to kind of clean up the supplies after I was done with them, so to speak.
That, and to get ready, right? Like, I know it's July, but we are talking Christmas in July. You have to get ready for these bigger projects.
Well, absolutely, because before you know it, it's going to be here. I know that sounds terrible, but if I just look at my schedule between now and then, I have so much going on in August and September. And then, you're already in October, which is, the start of the holiday season for many people.
Yep, it is. So awesome. Well, don't forget to check out my video on Wednesday. This will go up live on Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. If you've been playing along with Christmas in July, I want to hear how it went for you. So be sure to leave a comment below. And until next time, happy crafting.